Back in June of 2019, I posted a video review of Bloody Crayons on my old YouTube channel. And it did pretty well for a video that I abandoned literally after it was uploaded. My microphone broke a week before I finished my script, so the video had no actual commentary, and it just didn't feel right to me. So now, I decided to remake my review of the movie for my new channel, so I hope you enjoy. Every single Filipino horror movie that has been released these past few years, maybe even 2 decades, were all just ghost movies. Of course, I wouldn't mind it if just stick to one single subgenre, even if there's no variety. But the thing is, these ghost movies aren't even good. So it felt very refreshing to finally see a horror movie that isn't just about haunted houses or cursed objects. I've seen a few Filipino horror movies before, and this is literally the only slasher Filipino horror movie that I know of. There's nothing else like it. Even the Wikipedia page thinks so, as the other 3 movies on the list are supernatural movies. The movie is based on the book of the same name, written by Josh Organza, and it's released on the app called Wattpad. I've never really read the book before, though I did plan on reading it before watching the movie, but I just never got to, so I can't really tell if the movie story is accurate to the book or not. So instead, I will be reviewing it as its own standalone movie. The movie starts off like any other teen horror movie, so we already know where this movie is going. It tries to build up a lot of drama from the characters that we won't even care about. There's supposed to be some kind of love triangle between Eunice the final girl and her friends Kiko and John. But the problem with this subplot is that Kiko doesn't really have a lot of screen time in the movie, so we never really got to understand his character. The movie just tells us that he likes Eunice and that's it. He never got any development as a character. Well, actually, none of the characters really develop, and that's one of the main problems about this movie. There are just way too many characters that the movie has no idea which one to focus on. Of course, it's okay to have a lot of characters in a movie, but this movie could barely even give the main characters a proper screen time. The movie is way too crowded that some of the characters felt like they were just an extra, and some of them only even had a couple minutes of screen time. The character played by Empoy Marquez is one of the best examples of this. His character's purpose was to be the comic relief of the group, but since he only had a couple minutes of screen time, we never really understood his purpose on the movie. When he makes a joke, it just feels out of place. His character was just completely useless. The only actual scene that I remember him in was his death scene, but that scene didn't even focus on him. Most of his screen time was spent on him being on the background of the scenes. There's also the character Justin. Though he had more screen time than Empoy's character, still suffered the same problem. He started off as the nice guy in the group, but when we reached the second half of the movie, his character's personality had completely changed. He just started blaming everyone in the group and tries to kill all of them. Again, he had no development. Turning your character insane out of nowhere is not a development. The second half of the movie became a whodunit mystery, where everyone just started blaming and killing each other. I thought the movie was supposed to be a slasher, but I was fine with what we've got, as I thought it was a pretty cool change. The only actual issue that I had with it was that the characters just became insane in like less than 20 minutes. But of course, just when you thought the movie was finally getting better, it had changed its genre once again. Well, the third act is actually a slasher. A masked person suddenly appeared out of nowhere and tries to kill the characters. And I was just very confused. I mean, sure, I guess it's nice that it's actually a slasher movie, but this is now the third time that the movie had changed its genre. The movie has no focus. It doesn't know what it actually wants to be. Is it a romance, a mystery, or is it a slasher? Even with the problems that the second half had, it was still watchable, but the third act is really just the worst. Before the killer was even revealed, we already know who it is. That's how predictable this movie is. Also, the ending is full of laughably bad CG effects that is just very distracting. And also, plot twist, Kiko is somehow alive and now him and his rival are friends. Even though literally a few scenes earlier, they were trying to kill each other. Like, what? Are we just gonna ignore what happened? I would have gladly talked more about the third act's problem, but after finishing the movie, I had already forgotten half of it. Even if the movie was plagued with issues, I still applaud it for what it did, as it tried out something new and different from other Filipino horror movies. I mean, this is why I don't really care about Filipino horror movies in general, as it's always the same movies with the same problems all over again. I would have loved to see more Filipino slasher movies, especially when done right.